Ladies and gentlemen, today's story is an absolute cracker. This is every pot in the universe calling every kettle in the cosmos black. This is the Belgian health minister telling Kate Moss she needs to lose a few pounds. This is Rocky Dennis going on a double date with me and telling me I should have combed my hair or else I'm going to drive the birds away. SNP MP Marie Black accused of hypocrisy for claiming politics is toxic. Critics say the politician's own actions have fueled intolerance of others. Marie Black, or as I prefer to call her, Uncle Fester with a wig on, she's made a political career out of being aggressively, rabidly Anglophobic all the time, constantly, towards any of the 60 million people that were unlucky enough to be born south of Hadrian's Wall. The woman spews hatred constantly, but she gets away with it. And we all know why, because it's one rule for the walk and another one for everybody else. The SNP's deputy leader at Westminster this week announced she would be quitting the Commons at the next election, blaming a poisonous working environment and abuse which she said has harmed her mental health. No, it's because when you spend a few years in Parliament when you work for the SNP, you've skimmed enough cream off the top, you've had your fat head in the trough for long enough, where you'll probably never need to work again. She's going to retire and she's not going to work for a living, because that's what you can do when you're an SNP politician and you've had your snout in there. That's why she's quitting, and everybody knows it. Critics claim Miss Black's own actions fueled intolerance of others, with the MP becoming embroiled in a series of controversies since she was elected in 2015. She's been involved in more controversies than almost any MP up there. Ian Blackford makes her look polite, and that oily, ten-chinned imbecile has all the charm and charisma of a radioactive AIDS leper. If I had the opportunity of spending 5 minutes in a room with Ian Blackford, or going on a 2-week piss-up with Bill Cosby, I'd go drinking with Billy Boy. In a further sign of tensions within the party's Westminster group, Joanna Cherry, the SNP MP for Edinburgh, made an apparent reference to Miss Black in a newspaper column. She said, "We've heard a lot about toxicity in politics this week, but warned it would only stop when parliamentarians show leadership and engage with the issues of the day respectfully." In 2019, discussing trans issues, Miss Black suggested those who did not agree with her should educate themselves, and the opposition was being driven by transphobes whose views should not be legitimised. Using rhyming slang, she added, "Ultimately, just don't be a Jeremy Hunt." Yeah, that's not toxic language, is it? Can you imagine if someone like Jacob Rees-Mogg or Farage had said something like that in public? They'd have them in the stocks. If it was Farage, they'd stick him in a coffin, nail it shut, and fling him in the North Sea. So it's truly laughable, the absolute nonsense that these people can get away with, the protected class are allowed to get away with. Miss Black also accused those who criticised the visit she took part in to a primary school with a drag queen who called themselves Floor Job, who read to children of homophobia. We've heard a lot about drag queens going to kids' schools and the left claiming that it had nothing to do with sex or sexualising children, and the drag queens themselves, which is men dressed up as women, acting like a bad stereotype of a very, very slutty prostitute down the docks. And they call themselves things like Floor Job, and then claim with a straight face that it's got nothing to do with sex. None of them are called Sarah Smith, are they? Floor Job. In any other situation, if a burly builder with hairy legs and a frock on starts talking to children about floor jobs, they will probably end up on a drip shortly after. I mean, seriously, even people like me that were raised in the 80s and 90s and have never been homophobic or against gay marriage or anything like that, I think you could be forgiven for walking into a room, seeing a 7-year-old girl talking to a large hairy man in a frock about floor jobs, and then instantly roundhouse kicking his lips off. The hypocrisy of Marie Black talking about toxicity in politics should be called out. She should have a good hard look in the mirror. Yeah, well, she won't need to, because now she's set for life. She's had her head in the trough, she's loaded, and she's going to spend the rest of her days spending your money, drinking champagne, and scissoring the shit out of whichever unfortunate, possibly trafficked, much younger woman that she ends up shacking up with. Because these people have got all the morals of a degenerate gambler with kleptomania. But that's just my opinion, ladies and gents. Let me know what you think. Are you a big fan of Marie Black? I'd love to talk to you. She's got bigger bin bags under her eyes than Gandalf the Grey. Anyway, let me know what you think. That party has just basically made it a political career out of peddling hate. And I'm astounded that they've managed to cling to power like a limpet for for as long as they have done. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all for a live stream on Monday.